Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone. Call to order. Should we take a roll call, Jennifer?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Folsom.
Here.
Commissioner Carwin.
Here.
Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Vice Chair Sobek.
Here.
Chair Thomas.
Here. Let's go ahead and stand for the flag salute. Commissioner Sobek, would you mind leading the flag salute?
I was once Cub Scout then leader, so.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any agenda modifications or changes at
No,
this
sir, as
time? No?
posted.
Okay. Let's see, don't we usually do the minutes before all this?
No, sir.
No? Oh, okay. So, do we have any presentations? We don't have any presentations. Do we have any public comments at this
We do.
time?
Katie Manier.
Good evening. Mr. Thomas, I'm going to tell you something I've told Scott Mann on many occasions. I will not shut up. I will not sit down. I will not stop speaking. I have a right to my 3 minutes up here and to say what I want, whether you like it or not. You have no obligation and are not to respond from the dais. You were out of line, and it won't happen again. Maybe you can get my email address so you can attack me as Doug Spoon and his wife have done. That need not happen again either, or they'll see what sort of job I have. They don't know one thing about me, and they would take it on themselves to get up and make comments to embarrass me and harass me. Mr. Carwin, have you done any investigation on your neighborhood and why those houses have been vacant for years? How can you represent clients now that you've been put on notice about those homes and the reason they're vacant? The words red tagged have been used, but not by me, rather by Mr. Rob Johnson. Those homes are not red tagged. I don't know what the difference is, but they're sitting vacant because they're uninhabitable. National Academy of Science did a report, which is in the hands of the county. It states that this city is to be monitored due to the contaminated soil, and yet no monitoring has ever been done, and there was no limit attached to that. I suggest somebody, and I have suggested for years, somebody do the research. I have the documents. I can send them to you if you'd like. Not one person here with all the documents I've claimed to have has asked to see one thing. Not one thing.
I have no further speakers, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the prior commission meeting?
Excuse me, I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Nothing on the consent calendar, so that will move us on to the public hearing for the plot plan 2014-251 for the signage program at the medical offices at Texas Roadhouse.
Mr. Chair and members of the commission, as you indicated, this is a plot plan for the sign on the medical office buildings on Hahn Road. I would ask the project manager and...
I apologize. Can we stop? Lisa just made a point. We did not introduce you formally, so if you could give us a 2-second synopsis about yourself. So.
Okay, well, again, just to introduce myself into the public as well, I'm the interim community development director. I'm replacing Charles Leclerc, and I'm very pleased and very happy and honored to be here and be part of the staff, and I'm looking forward to working with the commission as well. Just a little bit about myself. I've got over 30 years of experience in the public sector. The vast majority of that is in community development. I've worked for cities of Warren, Michigan, city of Long Beach, city of Cerritos, and then as Lake Elsinore, both as the community development director and city manager there as well. So I've got a little bit of understanding of how the city government works.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay. So with that, I would ask Lisa to go ahead and present this item to the commission.
Good evening. Lisa Gordon presenting the sign program for the medical offices at the Texas Roadhouse. This project is located just down the street from where we are now, east of Hahn Road, north of Newport. It's right next door to the Texas Roadhouse. The plot plan is an application for a sign program for an existing 9,500 square foot medical office building. The applicant proposes two signs, one 27.6 square foot DaVita sign on the west elevation and a 43.24 square foot DaVita sign on the south elevation. This is an exhibit that shows the site plan for the medical office building. One sign will be on the elevation facing Hahn Road, and the other sign will be located facing more the driveway. This is the sign on the Hahn Road elevation on the west side. This is the sign on the south elevation, which would basically face the yellow basket. It's the larger of the two signs. The medical office building was approved by the Planning Commission on November 27, 2012, under plot plan number 2012-015. The applicant elected not to process a sign program with the plot plan at that time. The project is within the new hub specific plan. In May of 2012, the Planning Commission forwarded a recommendation for approval of new sign standards to the City Council. And based on that recommendation, the City Council approved the new sign standards in July 2012. Under the new sign standards, any new sign program must be reviewed under a plot plan application and approved by the Planning Commission. So that's why this application is before you tonight. The proposed sign program is consistent with the sign standards of the specific plan. The two wall signs proposed are well below what is required by the specific plan, and the signs are located at the top story of the building per the specific plan requirements. The sign placement has been carefully considered so that they will fit well onto the proposed building and are architecturally integrated with that building. At this time, staff recommends adoption of Planning Commission Resolution 15-200 approving the plot plan for the sign program. This concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any technical questions of staff about this?
I do. This is my first Planning Commission meeting where we're doing with signs, and I've gone back and reviewed some of the standards for the signage. And in this particular case, I was having some difficulty understanding the technical specifics of the illumination. Can staff give me some detail on how the signs are to be illuminated?
They are internally illuminated channel letters. The applicant will have to go through our building and safety department for the actual permits for the sign, and at that time our building and safety department will review any electrical components for the lighting.
So is the specifics for this sign, is it a continuous illumination or are they illuminated individually? I'm looking at the possibility of a DaIta sign. Or would it go out entirely if one thing went out?
You know, I do not have that information. It looks like it's one power supply for all of the channel letters. If you look on page 5 of the sign program, yours might be small. There's under letter layout plan view detail 2, they're showing the main power supply feeding all the channel letters. And unfortunately, the applicant isn't here to confirm.
Well, if we don't know, we don't know.
Yeah.
It just, I just wanted to know, is it possible to tell from the report whether there are individually illuminated letters or if there's a single illumination diode that lights them all at the same time? I know it's not a box light. So it looks like each letter and the star would be illuminated separately.
Yeah. Because they're all detached letters. That's not a continuous attached sign.
they appear to be individually wired from behind each of the letters, so.
Is there anything in our municipal code or in our planning plan that requires repair of lights within a certain period of time if they go out?
There's general conditions on the plot plan that they keep the sign in good order. We can ask them to repair the sign if the light does go out. But there's nothing in our development code, no.
I'd ask that maybe that be investigated by staff to see if that's something we can amend or add, either as a development code or a municipal code or something.
We
Condition.
could add
Because on a
con-
beautiful building like this with this gigantic sign, it'd be a shame if they were to say, well, we just don't have a maintenance guy around to get to it for a while.
Could we put a condition on it? On
We
this?
could put a condition of approval on the project that if one of the letter lights does go out, whatever time frame you deem acceptable, it needs to be repaired, if that's
Thank you.
48 hours or, I know.
Yeah, the way we do that. Yeah.
50,000 hours for LED.
But the way you do that is put a condition on the project. A
I would
condition.
like to see a condition on the project for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Never thought of that.
Did you
Uh,
have a time frame? 2 days, 3 days, 4 days? How much?
Would this be the appropriate time to discuss that? I thought
Yeah,
this was
we-
just questions for
technically,
staff.
You can,
I'd say 48 hours is something that I think is a reasonable amount of time if they need to order a part or get somebody out there,
okay.
from notice to the management that it's
And
non-illuminated.
the applicant has arrived, so if there are questions, they can be addressed.
Okay, when we open the public hearing, we'll do that. Any other technical questions of staff on this? Okay, then we'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:18. Does the applicant like to speak?
I apologize for being late. I've never seen traffic coming from Escondido to here in an hour and a half.
What's your name, sir?
Tony Rector, R-E-C-T-O-R, and I am the sign permit expediter for the applicant, Superior Electrical Advertising, and I'm here to answer any questions or concerns or take away suggestions.
Well, you could address his question.
We just had this whole discussion in your absence. I apologize to everyone who has to hear it again, but my concern with the sign is being individually illuminated, whether if one of the lights were to go out, is there a technical backup that the whole thing would go out, or would there just be a missing letter? How does that work technically with the way this is wired?
Right. These are LED illuminated lights. Unlike neon or some of the old style, these are LED illuminated and they're on a transformer, et cetera. So they're all continuously lit.
So if,
Could happen, but
unlikely.
unlikely, yes, sir.
It's all or nothing then, probably.
And who is in charge of maintaining the light should something from an engineering standpoint fail?
My client, Superior Electrical Advertising.
Where would they be sending a technician from? Like, if there was a problem with the light, how long would it take for somebody to get there within a reasonable period?
We have 24-hour emergencies, et cetera. And I would, from Long Beach, or various areas, but I would say maximum 45 minutes to an hour. But they'd come out of Long Beach and we run a 3-hour shift.
So just from a very, very specific question that I have, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, you find out that the A goes out and it's not illuminated.
Right.
If we were to put a contingency on the approval of a 48-hour repair time, would that be an undue burden on your
No, none whatsoever.
service staff?
As a matter of fact, respectfully, I'd say a 24-hour.
Make it 48 hours for traffic.
Mr. Phillips, okay.
Thank you. That answers all of my questions.
Okay, okay. Anybody else have any questions of the applicant? Do we have any public speakers other than the applicant?
We do not, sir.
None. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:21.
Mr. Chair, can I just note that we did advertise for this?
I apologize.
public
Yeah, so it's been
notice?
properly noticed?
Yes, sir. And no
Okay.
correspondence
And
was
no
received.
correspondence, okay. My cheat sheet doesn't say that. Just so you know. Okay, so we'll go ahead and bring it to the dais. Anyone wants to discuss this? If you have any comments or changes or anything?
I have one comment, is that this proposal signage is consistent with the sign standards of the specific plan, and I don't see a problem with adopting this resolution.
Commissioner Folsom?
I agree. It fits within the sign standards that are approved by the city. It's a beautiful building. I think the sign's tasteful. I'm in favor of it.
Commissioner Phillips, any comments?
I'm for this, as, just to reiterate what the other commissioners have stated, you're well within the standards, and I personally, as a wannabe diabetic, welcome you guys to Menifee. So I'm glad to see you're here.
Okay, well then, it seems like everyone's in agreement here. Do we have someone to make a motion on Resolution PC 15-200?
Did you want to add a condition with regards to the repair?
Yeah, as amended with the commission, the condition of requiring 48-hour.
Here, I've drafted some real quick wording here if you would like to consider it. It's just damage to or any malfunction of the sign shall be repaired within 48 hours.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
So, do we have a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number PC 15-200, approving the plot plan number 2014-251 for a sign program.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do we need to do a roll call?
Yes, sir,
Sorry for
please.
the yawn, guys.
Commissioner Folsom,
Yes.
Commissioner Carwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sobek,
Yes.
Chair Thomas.
Yes. You have a beautiful sign now. Worth the drive. No.
Before you leave Menifee, make sure you eat here in our town, okay?
Leave some sales tax revenue, okay?
Oh, we don't have a hotel.
Yeah, we don't have a hotel. We'll need we're building one. There you go. Okay. So, do we have no other discussion items? Community Development Director, do you have any comments?
Just wanted to extend the offer that my door to all the commissioners is open. I'd be more than happy to meet with any of you. Anytime if you have any questions or concerns, I want to keep that open discussion going between us, and I look forward to a very positive working relationship for the time that I'm here. So I do want to offer that. And just a little background too. I have a background. My background is an urban planning degree, my undergraduate, and I do have an MBA as well. So I just wanted to put that in. And I am a Michigan State Spartan, so that's
Okay,
throw that out there.
good deal. Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any comments or?
I have a question for
Yeah.
staff. I didn't see it on here. I just want to, I wrote down 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock for our special meeting that's next Thursday night, so I didn't see it here.
6
6
o'clock.
6 o'clock, and that is our, on the 19th, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thursday.
And that is our ethics training,
In
right?
Brown Act training. Uh-huh.
Okay, Brown Act, okay.
I am not going to be able to be here. Is there another way that can I do that online or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I
I'm
can
going to have
provide
to
you the
do
link
that.
to that. Mhm.
Okay.
I have one comment, question for the city engineer.
Wait, I might be able to be here. Check, go ahead, sorry.
Okay,
Go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
You had mentioned considering a lecture on water quality management. I was wondering, is there a time frame for when you can put that together? It's one of my interest areas, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm aware of that. And I will work with Bob to set that up. And we'll meet later this week, and I'm sure come up with a schedule that works with the schedule of the meetings.
There's no big stress on it.
And I just want to reiterate my request to staff to maybe investigate whether we can add that sign turnaround requirement to our code or plan in some way, with the best way to make that happen. I don't know if that needs to come through us or somebody else.
How would that be?
We're working on the development code now. Charles Leclerc, he's no longer the interim community development director, but he is working on that development code and will pass the message along. In the meantime, we'll add it as a standard condition of approval on all of our signs.
Good catch.
On that, Lisa, on the development code, how it was coming before the commission, little bits at a time, is that going to continue, or is now this new, who the city hired as a professional, are they going to be doing that, or how's that going to be handled?
Well, Charles will be working on, that's essentially going to be his role of completing that process. You probably will be seeing bits and pieces of it coming forward, depending on what we need to address. Some things will become an urgency type of an issue. We'll need to bring those forward to the commission and to the city council as well. So that's the way you'll see some of that. Yeah, ideally, it'd be great if we could bring the whole
Right,
thing through, but.
Because we haven't done it we haven't done it since before Christmas, have we worked on it?
You're right. We haven't done a lot of the workshops, and that's because we've had so many workshops for projects that developers have wanted to discuss. So
Okay,
we've been kind of holding off on some of the
All right.
development code workshops just because of the agenda sizes lately.
okay, thank you.
Okay, any other commissioner comments or requests? Okay, well then, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we want to take a little break or go straight into the workshop? Okay, we're going, diving in. So let's go ahead and open up the workshop. If staff, do we have a presentation on that?
Mr. Chair and members of the commission, again, this is a pre-application review for a single-family subdivision of 101 lots. It's number 2014-218, and Lisa Gordon, the planning manager, will review it with the commission.
Good evening. Presenting the pre-application review for the single-family residential subdivision on Holland and Evans. The project site is located south of Holland Road, east of Evans, and north of Corson Avenue. Paloma Valley High School is basically catty corner to the development. The project proposes a subdivision of 30 gross acres into 101 single-family residential lots. The minimum lot size is 7,200 square feet. There would be one 0.66 gross acre lot, which would be a remainder parcel where the property owner intends to build a home in the future. There's also a lot reserved for a basin. The project site is currently zoned residential agriculture, 1 acre minimum, although the general plan land use of the property is 2 to 5 dwelling units per acre residential. To accommodate the proposal, an amendment to the zoning classification of the site to 1-family dwellings would be required. The general plan land use, as I mentioned previously, does allow for development of between 2 to 5 units per acre. While the project does fall within the density range, some members of the council have expressed a desire to consider the opportunity for more variety in lot sizes, and specifically more lots within the 10 to 20,000 square foot range. Although such expressions do not set policy or change established development standards, they do make it clear to staff that density is a concern and that individual projects must be carefully reviewed to be sure whatever is built shall benefit the community, as determined by the Planning Commission and City Council. The site may be an appropriate location for consideration of larger lots to buffer existing rural lots located to the east of the site and from smaller lots to the north and west. 10 to 20,000 square foot lots may provide a logical transition between the two different lot sizes in the surrounding community. However, this area may also be appropriate for 7,200 square foot lots due to surrounding development, which is predominantly 7,200 square feet. I have an exhibit here that shows lot sizes in the area. To the north, there's a specific plan, the Newport Estates. There are approved track maps in the vacant property that aren't showing up because the maps haven't recorded yet. The lots in those maps are between 6,000 and 700 200 square feet. There's an existing development directly west of the site, that's 7,200 square foot lot minimums, and also catty corner. The map is recorded. A developer has approached the city about moving forward with building on that map that's catty corner to the project. To the northeast, there's existing residential development at 7,200 square feet, but directly west of the property, you have 1 to 2 acre lots. And the property directly south of the property, that is also designated for larger lots. And then a park site, the city does own property, and the goal is to have a park there someday. Existing 1 to 2.5 acre rural properties east of the site are fairly well established, and although they are also designated 2 to 5 dwelling units an acre, they may not convert to a denser residential area for some time. Design is also an issue of further consideration for this project. The overall layout of the subdivision is a concern. Streets within the development create a racetrack type road within the project. The development does not incorporate conservation of possibly environmentally sensitive habitat, and there does not appear to be any amenities provided such as trails, paseos, or park space. These items are required by the city's general plan, including policies of the general plan. There are several subdivisions selling homes in the city of Menifee, and it appears that the developments which incorporate interesting design, open space, or other amenities are more successful than those that don't have such items. And the overall quality of the development, both to future residents and to the city as a whole, may be enhanced with a modified street pattern, trails, paseos, or park space, and architectural design consistent with other developments that have recently been approved by the city. As I mentioned before, the site is located northwest of Paloma Valley High School. Developments adjacent to schools are often impacted by school traffic, pedestrian and vehicular, parking, and noise from adjacent sports fields. The project should be designed to buffer the proposed use from the existing high school and provide convenient pedestrian connections from the school to residential areas. The proposed road should be carefully considered to reduce the possibility of use for cut-through high school vehicle traffic within the development. At this time, staff recommends that we conduct the open to the public workshop and provide feedback to the applicant on their proposal. This concludes staff presentation.
Okay. Would the applicant like to address us?
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Sam Akbarpur with SEC Engineers, 400 South Ramona
Can
Avenue.
you say it again, Sam?
Sam Akbarpur, Akbarpur, with SEC SAKE Engineers. Our address is 400 South Ramona Avenue, Suite 202, Corona, 92879.
Hello, my name is John Rowland. I'm the general contractor with Santa Rosa Development from Murrieta.
Well, we like to start with really I have done personally some other project on the neighborhoods, with 7,200 square foot lot, which is in compliance with the general plan. And I know we talked with the staff briefly on a PAR, and they mentioned about bigger lots. I even though have done some development myself, really, we have noticed, some other city, a bigger lot really is not in favor of, as far as keeping in good shape and maintenance, because it costs to maintain it, and it become more nuisance to homeowners. And as far as this development here, really, the only thing really with obstacle here or hardship we see here on Evans Road getting to Holland, the existing right-of-way, which it was really when the other existing development to the west, they developed these, they should have really acquired the land and extended. I'm sure now they have some hardship or problem with the existing property line to the west of the property. Therefore, they meander the road, Evans Road, to the Holland Road. And then at the beginning, when we came with the PAR, considering or having that consideration, we did have an entry directly to the Holland Road and the staff really wanted us to go back to Evans. Again, I've been talking to John, and he's been trying to acquire that land from the property owner. It may not be in cooperation, right, to us?
Yeah, the property owner, at that lot there, 360-140-002 is kind of anti-development. They've owned the lot for a long time, and I guess they put up the same kind of resistance when the developer next door built the lot. That's what caused that road to be meandering that way.
Well, being all said that, we are open to suggestion, if you may have any concern or comments.
Okay. Commissioner Phillips, go ahead and start.
Yes, I took a walk over that site, and I was wondering, did you know you have burrowing owls over there?
What we're gonna do, general
Yeah.
biology, so.
Yeah, I strongly recommend you either talk to those owls and get them to move, because they scared the daylights out of me. They
no,
came right out of the hole, and, I was thinking, this is some weird-looking gophers until they took off.
No, we're definitely gonna do general bio and then take care of those.
Right. One of the things that I noticed when I was reviewing this, is there a reason that the deviations from the city of Menifee and Riverside County standards have to be approved by the city of Wildemar Public Works? That's on your,
Oh, Wildemar?
yeah, it's in the bottom right of the plan. I was kind of curious about that because I thought we had gone through all these iterations of building our own kingdom here, and now all of a sudden we have to defer to Wildemar.
No, what, you know how it is, one, as an engineer, when we copy these to other cat, and then probably, yeah.
Okay.
But that, we'll go through that.
There, the other concern that I had was you've got some really, really interesting rock features. There's more than, there's almost about 10 or 12 of them all over that site. And I'm wondering, my first concern is whether or not this has any kind of significant connection to the local tribes. Have you touched base with them yet?
Yeah, we've already
found that.
completed cultural resources study, and nothing was found and no letters back from any tribes.
Okay, that's a good point. Thank you for that. The property to the south is owned by the city, I believe, just across where Corazon Road is. And I was wondering whether or not, due to the lack of amenities in your tract, whether or not you may want to consider negotiating with the city to donate development fees toward getting this park off the ground that's immediately to the south. I think that would kind of help out. Just something to keep in the corner of your mind in the back 40
Well, we have
there.
to pay the park fee regardless. I mean, either,
Right,
you know,
and
That was a consideration of ours.
okay. Another one, your site tends downslope from Evans Road, and in your plans you stated that you're going to take about 66,000 cubic yards of soil and do some terracing on the western side. I don't think you have 66,000 cubic yards of soil available to do the amount of terrace work that you're going to do there. So my concern is if you're going to import any soil, be sure that that soil is checked.
Actually, you know,
We don't want to have a Wildemar problem here
Actually, I
with
really-
contaminated soil.
I really appreciate for you to looking at every single word on the plan. I mean, it was a couple of this version was submitted. We did revise this one here, and the site is going to be a balanced site.
No import, no export.
Oh, okay. In the area where you have street echo, and Street Foxtrot. According to the contour lines that you have here and according to what's physically on the site, those are a part of the lowest points of the site. You've got Tamarisk Grove in one and a bunch of chaparral type vegetation in the other. And this is where your cul-de-sacs are located. Now, are you going to put in some kind of features here that will drain that natural, that will compensate for that natural drainage from the west to the east?
Well, whatever the sub-drains per source engineer recommendation is we're gonna comply with, definitely.
Okay. Are you planning on developing Corzine Road immediately to the south?
Like every other city, like on half plus 10, yes.
Okay. The other thing is, I would strongly recommend you enter in some kind of negotiation for emergency response and medical services, something off of Holland Road. I really would recommend that you consider putting a turn-in lane or something there.
You mean make left pocket from Holland to the Evans?
To where this racetrack is on the east side. Yeah. Right in here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I was looking at that primarily from emergency response services, fire, police.
Well, if Commissioner would like, as I said, originally we had the entrance from Holland. We still prefer to have it there.
We were told
Okay.
that
So-
due to the other developments, they didn't want any more entrances off Holland
I mean, we
Road,
still
so
prefer
changed
to
it.
have that.
Okay.
I was actually going to address that.
Yeah, I think that might be something you want to revisit, primarily from that point of view. Are you planning on doing any road improvements on Murphy Lane? You've got a sewer lateral that runs right down the middle of that street, and
I think that's a paper street, it's not a physical street, correct?
no, it's more like a driveway. But I was just wondering, because there is a sewer lateral right in the middle of that dirt road there. And since your site tends to go down gradient from Evans to Murphy Lane, are you planning on using that to tie in your sewer facilities?
No, Mr. Commissioner, there is another piece of property between ours.
Right, there's a 10-acre strip there.
Correct, exactly, that tennis strip. But we do have sewer on Holland, which we're tying into.
Okay. And last but not least of the questions I had was your water quality basin that you're going to have on the northeast side there, you're planning on going down to this big monstrosity of a water quality basin that's on Bradley and Holland. I'm quite sure you've seen it. It looks like a meteor crater right there. It looks like you have planned a storm drain that will go down to the street.
But the basin on site is designed for water quality and additional runoff.
Okay.
And the normal flow is end up on that basin which belongs to flood control.
Okay.
It is run it by them, yes.
Okay, and now on the southern side of your property, there's a natural drainage that it's about 20 feet, maybe 30 feet from the corner of Corzine Road and Evans. There's a natural drainage that runs right down to the southeast of your property. Now, you're going to put a basin in there?
Well, no, since the area is really so small, we have designed to pick it up and then take it. Because I did talk to flood controls.
Uh-huh.
This water ends up in the same flood, so they had no problem with us going through the Holland Road. That's why we could balance the site. That was a
Okay.
huge help from the flood control to give us the green light to go that way.
Okay, that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Mr. Phillips.
Commissioner Carwin, do you have any suggestions or questions?
Yeah, I do. Have you gentlemen driven through that area about 7:30 in the morning by any chance?
Well, I'm sure there is a school there.
There's a high school with only two ways in and out of it. One of them is Craig Road, and the other one is Bradley Road. And leaving and coming to the high school, those are the only two ways to get there. You are right in the middle of those two areas. Now, I have a pretty personal investment in that, and I drop my son off at high school every single morning and go through there. And coming out of the high school is a nightmare already. Adding 101 single-family residence lots to this area, they're all filtering out onto Evans Road.
Well, there's two exits. They're not all filtering out on
One on the Corson,
Correct. On the,
You know what we
and
could,
Corson, you're going to have to come out there, turn right, and go to Evans Road because the road doesn't go to the left.
correct.
well, what we could do, really work out with the city. There is probably 300 or 400 feet. We can probably provide a sidewalk from Curson to the school. So all of these residents, if they have, this will be a drop-off. That really helps the community.
Well, the reason I bring this up, and the reason I think staff and whoever cautioned you from having an entrance on the Holland Road is because if you go out there, and I encourage you to do this so you can see what I'm talking about, if you go out there about 7:30, Tuesday through Friday, Monday's a late day, if you go Tuesday through Friday, on Holland Road, the traffic is backed up all the way from Bradley Road past Murphy, almost to the beginning of this development right here. And it's like that all morning until school starts. It creates a major traffic problem. And then, here's the fun part, if you come down Evans Road to Holland and you say, well, we can just get out by turning left. Well, you turn left, and then you get into the middle school traffic and the traffic going across Holland Road over to the other side. You're stuck between three schools, all starting at the same time and ending roughly at the same time. So I have grave concerns in the morning and afternoon. Now, the rest of the day, who knows what's going to happen right there. But if you were to bring this plan before the commission for approval, I really would want you to have driven through there and explained to me how these 101 people are going to get to work on time in the morning, how they're going to get to the freeway from here. If I have to be at work in Riverside at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to have to leave my house at 7 to get to it.
I think that's a very common problem in every community, though. I have two kids that go to Murrieta Valley schools, and when they were at Cole Canyon Elementary, every single person had the same problem. With Thompson Middle School being next to Murrieta Valley High School, it's the same thing. I don't think that's an isolated issue for this site. I think that's pretty common with every school district in the Inland Empire, Orange County, or anywhere else that has dense population.
Well, that's true, but if I filter 101 people on their way to work at 7:30 in the morning into this traffic, the Planning Commission's going to get roasted for that decision. And I just want to make sure we have a valid reason to say, well, it takes a long time for everybody to get to work. That's the number one complaint people have going through Temecula or wherever. Getting from their house to the freeway is something preventing people from choosing selection. You've got a unique property here across the other side of Holland. Those people are going to be able, when it's developed, to go south and avoid it and get all the way out to Newport. It's just and then the other, Commissioner Thomas brought up the natural landscaping. There's some wonderful trees on the property and things like that. Are you going to be preserving any of the natural landscaping that's on there? Or are you planning on just flattening it and removing everything?
Well, we can get an arborist and get recommendation, as far as really preservative trees or not. Huh?
There's actually one spot. It's about halfway up on the east edge of the property, exactly where that area is. And considering how few trees there are left in the city of Menifee, to have natural trees growing on this lot would be nice to preserve some. And
Commissioner, we're gonna add for every 45 feet of street linear, one tree. So we're gonna
I just do we know what kind of trees those are that are going? Those are tamarisks. It just looks really cool out there, and the idea of having those torn down breaks my heart because everything else is just chaparral and scrub out there. And then staff did bring up this concern, and I had the same thing with the layout, this horseshoe layout here. It just, it really feels like a labyrinth. If I was to get in there if I was looking for somebody's house, I'd be driving around in circles. It's, I encourage you to maybe put a little more creativity into the layout of this neighborhood, other than just a spiral, basically, is what it is. And it concerns me that it seems like a lack of creativity. And I'm not saying skill. I'm not saying the lot itself is designed poorly. The layout is, it's very, very well done. And I'm not diminishing the skill of the architects here. What I'm saying is it just seems like the path of least resistance on how to fit the houses in here. And I think a little bit more attention on varying the layout might really help this property out.
Well, believe me, as an engineer, designer, we look into that too and have consent. The point we have to work out is the topography, and also like for sewer, gravity, you know, because this end of the project is high, that's low. We were trying to see how we can provide all of the services. But we're gonna look into it to see if we can make a cul-de-sac, you know, on the street C and street G.
So basically, my three main concerns are the traffic patterns during the school ingress and egress, the natural habitats that are on the property, and the geology and arborism that exists. Is arborism a word? Did I just coin a phrase, arborism? And then finally, the layout, it seems a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? Institutional to me. So those are my three concerns with the property. I will say, though, if you can work it out, I'm in favor of developing that in this manner. And I would also say, this hasn't been addressed yet, I would probably be in favor of amending the plan to allow for the single-family homes. I'm in favor of the plan in general. So I think my concerns are specific because I think this is a necessary and a good idea for the area, a good use of the property.
Okay, I think being close to the school is good. And to answer that traffic issue one more time, when we had our first roundtable with Lisa and her staff, that was brought up, and we are in the process of doing the traffic study. It's been going for about 6 weeks, so it should be concluding fairly shortly.
Because let me just tell you, the way people circumvent it right now, and this was raised by staff, if you go down Holland Road eastbound towards Bradley, can you go back to that aerial shot? Okay. So if you come down Holland Road east of the project, you come down and there's a left turn into the neighborhood around what I'm going to call the pit. And people go through here and cut through that neighborhood in order to gerrymander back over to Bradley Road. So this backup, it goes all the way, you can see it here from Bradley all the way to Murphy Lane every single morning. It's without exception. And people circumvent it. They go on the other side of the road to come down this Altamira Street and cut through that neighborhood. So I mean, and you'll see it if you go down there with your own eyes. So it's a concern for me.
You know, actually, we can help the situation of the existing traffic by saying, you know, on Coruscant, we're going to have a pedestrian crossing connected to the school. So even though these kids, they don't have to be driven to the school, they can walk.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
That's not going to work.
There's seriously like 100 people there, and there's going to be 5 kids who go to the school. That's not going to, a pedestrian walkway is not going to alleviate that traffic.
Okay, Commissioner Phillips, did you have some comments? Or you already spoke?
Yes, I
Okay,
already
I'm
spoke.
sorry.
Yeah.
Commissioner Folsom.
Well, I would not be in favor of entrance on Holland. I think Holland is it 50 miles an hour at that point? Is it 45? Still fast, and it's currently 1 lane in each direction. Is it proposed to be a 4-lane?
Correct. And that will be the location of our overpass over the 215, which will be constructed shortly.
Yeah. So I would not be in favor of a entrance off of Holland. Do have a concern a little bit about your water basin. Not sure what that would look like, how that would be masked from the road. You know, again, we look over at the monstrosity across the street, and I don't want to see anything else like that in the city. I don't know if we have anything in our current development code that requires berming or anything.
We're working on landscaping and
Okay.
Park standards, and you'll actually be seeing those in a couple meetings, or next meeting.
Yeah, we can propose wrought iron, I mean, enhance it with landscaping, you know, we can work with staff on that, that's no problem.
Those are my main concerns.
So welcome to Menifee, and probably, I probably don't agree a lot with what was said here. I know it's designated acre lots, and we have heard a lot from our rural community. We have heard a lot from our mayor and our council members about having a variety of home sizes. In that neighborhood, there are already 7,200. I've attended many city council meetings where they've talked about having the variety. I agree with staff in their report that this might be a really good area. I went out there. It's a beautiful lot you have there. Beautiful. And I can see this as a beautiful estate area with a 10 to 20,000 square foot housing units or lots. I could see it with split rail fences and ranch style homes. Since that area is designated, they could have light agriculture and some animals on their property. I'd like to keep that rural area. I'd like to see that buffer the transition from the 1 acre and 2 acre lots to the 7,200. Yours would be a beautiful, beautiful area for estate style homes, and I would like to see that there. I also like what it said in the staff report, and I believe this. I know going around town that housing developments that incorporate interesting design, as Lisa said earlier, and incorporate open space or other amenities are more successful. From the general plan, policies, and the goals were to preserve the rural areas. We're supposed to provide a spectrum of housing types. We already have several of these housing types in that area. I don't remember what is proposed on the north side of Holland.
7,200 square foot.
Okay, 6,000 to 7,200. Establish rural estate residential neighborhoods and preserve and enhance the character of the city's rural area. And I would like to see that in this area.
So thank you. And thank you for bringing up the traffic. I knew it was difficult there. I didn't know the specific situation you brought up, and that was excellent. And the water. And I mirror her comments as far as the density. What I want to show you is, can you pull up, Lisa, the general plan spreadsheet? And if everyone, I had Lisa make copies for you. And we didn't do the math. I did the math here. It's not on yours. But if you look at, she's going to pull that up here. And where I'm going with this is to support the 10 to 20,000 square foot lots. This is out of our general plan. If we could reduce the view so we can see the, there you go. So if you look, the top portion where it says residential, this is the mix of the different densities. And then you look where it says units, those are the number of houses, 42,000. Now you have to add to that, go down south on that, where it says specific plan. Those are all specific plans and then the units of 19,867 homes. So for the residential portion, this is that build out, correct? We are basically, if you add up the 19,000 and the 42,000, that's 62,000 homes. Okay, that's the residential portion of our city. If you take by the way, all the specific plan homes, at least a great majority of them are at least 2 to 5 units per acre. So they're the density that you're proposing here. And then if you go up to the top where it says 25,268 units and everything down to the 42,000, if you add up all the densities of 2.1 or higher and all the specific plans, that composes 91% of our city. So basically, I feel sorry for you because you came in late to the game. Most of the city is already under specific plan, and that which is not, most of it is already higher density. So when this was suggested to keep the 10 to 20,000 square foot lots, there was a real specific reason for it. Part of a good planning on a city is a mix of development.
Sure.
So what I would encourage you to look at is, keep the 10 to 20,000 square foot lots with a mix. If you want a development, and the concern that a lot of developers come to me and say there's no market for it, well, I'll show you one. If you go across from Wheatfield Park, what's that development called where Wally lives?
The estate, Lake Ridge?
The market also
The lake.
Like, I don't know what it's called, but they're
Lake
all
Ridge.
15,000 square foot lots. There's not a single foreclosed home, there's not a single home for sale. People snap them up.
Yeah.
And they draw a higher income individual, they have beautifully taken care of area. And it is, we need more of that type of home in the mix for our city. Now, can we go back to the aerial there, Lisa? Exactly like Lisa said. You have the 1 to 2 acre lots to the east, right? Well, she's moving around, there we go. And then you have the 7,200 to the west. In planning, you want a transition, you don't want just a jump in density. And so that's another reason that I'm encouraging you that we should stick with the 10 to 20,000 square foot lots. We basically, when it comes down to this, the nicer lots, the little larger lots, don't exist much anymore in the city, and we need to preserve what we have. And that's what you're seeing, direction we receive from council. They're looking for that mix, okay? I can understand your desire to go to the 7,200 square foot lot because you want to get as many homes as you can, and you've got development costs, you've got a lot of things going on there. But on balancing that with the city's needs and balanced development, that's what we're looking at.
Look at that transition. There is a high school. There is all this 7,200 square foot along here. All of a sudden, you put a state lot. Who wants to live really a state lot in the middle of this high densities?
It's a beautiful area.
You would be surprised. I'll just tell you, go across from Wheatfield Park, and if you go in there, I know some people in there, you can't buy houses in there anymore. There is a market for it.
Well,
Okay.
probably they are not next to the high school or this.
Yeah.
Now, what you're gonna
surrounded
see,
with this
just-
density.
Just south of that isn't that the city-owned lot? Isn't that? right?
Immediately south.
Immediately south, no.
It's a little
It's south
farther.
of the cul-de-sac. You can kind of see this cul-de-sac
There you
right
go,
here.
yeah, it's right down there. So there's gonna be a large part, what is it, 20 acres?
30
10?
acres.
30 acres?
I think it's 20.
20
There's
acres,
10
yeah.
acres on either side of Corson.
Okay, so there's gonna be a very nice park there, and it's gonna, we already developed a lot of amenities there that will draw that market.
Sure.
Some other thoughts to share with you, setbacks. One thing that does draw someone who's willing to pay more is when you don't have a wall right on the street. So what was the setback you were showing on your plan here? What was your setback
On which street?
on Evans? Setback from Evans to the wall of the house. What's that? Looks like it's,
Well, that's 50 foot right away, huh?
oh, is that is that part of the drainage element there?
No, on Evans, that's a 50 foot right away, and then what we have a down slope.
Okay.
And
Okay,
then we
so
have
that's good, yeah.
Some retaining wall. Uh-huh.
What I would want to see is a setback with more than just the 3-foot sidewalk, maybe a sidewalk with a trail or a.
Well, yeah, this
Okay.
50 foot right away, we can accommodate all of those.
Yeah.
But it's just the
Um,
density, really, is not gonna.
Density is the biggest issue, and I would want to see, let's see, and when we do go into the square footage, it would be net, not gross. So sometimes.
All of these are net.
That, okay, very good. The street layout, again, I mirror what you said, it's just kind of looks like a racetrack, and we could be a little more creative on that. Basically, we're trying to push too many houses into this, so I think if you came back with the 10 to 20,000 net square foot lots, you would have room to do the different street design, and you'd have room to do the different amenities we're looking for.
Commissioner, that 10 to 20, that's a huge range, if it's, even though right now
Brad,
we do have some.
do a mix. You have some at 10, some at 15, some at 20. Do a mix.
What if they were all 10?
I
Because
mean-
even at all 10, that's gonna take away quite a few to where it's gonna be really hard to make this pencil and make sense to develop it in the city.
At this moment.
at this moment. in
At this
time.
moment. Now, yeah, when we look at a development, we look at more than just the moment. We look at what is it gonna be 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line. Now, if you want an example of short-sighted development, that's Merino Valley. They built, and look what you get. So we're looking at more than just the moment.
Well, this family's owned this lot for 50 years, and they've been holding it for 50 years, waiting for it to be the right time.
I understand.
It's a beautiful lot.
It's a beautiful lot.
I like to see estate houses.
Would you be supporting 10,000 with amenity park?
I would like to see a mix of, at least some with 15,000
Well,
square foot
the one
lots.
we're gonna have in the cul-de-sac, definitely they're gonna be bigger than 10, but I mean, is accommodation, we put a park, provide a park with 10,000.
I'd have to give it some thought. Again, I'm only one member on the commission, but, any other thoughts on this?
Can we go to that overhead again, which shows the vacant lot? We don't have a view on the other side of the high school. If you go continuing south on Evans, past the high school, on Craig, yeah, if you go south of this lot on Evans, there's the high school there, and then Craig kind of runs along the southern border of the high school property. The properties there, do we have any idea what the lots are on those properties?
Properties right along there, that's the park.
No, you can't see it. It's actually off the bottom of this picture, but there's a trail that runs right along Evans. There's a drainage canal there, and there's actually a dirt trail, looks like a horse trail, with a split rail fence and the stuff that Commissioner Sobek was talking about. Just across Craig Road, yeah, right in there. Do we have any idea of any information on that?
Yes, that is KB's Hidden Hills project. As of right now, they have about 113 houses built on the east side of Evans, south of Craig, and those are at, I believe, 7,200 square foot minimums. And then when you get to the west side of Evans, the lot sizes range from 6,500 to 5,000, I think. And they are providing, this big green space is supposed to be the neighborhood park for the area. They have a Paseo connection for drainage purposes, and they did have to add a trail. And then you can see the two lots that are designated OSR. That's the city property for the future park site.
So, Mike, in talking about the 10 to 20,000 square foot lots, I agree that I would like to see some variation. Maybe even not all of them. Maybe, down to the portion that runs along Corson or something. Maybe make those estates or something like that. At least try something for us to get some bigger lots in there, and then incorporate those elements. That trail that goes down is beautiful. It's really nice, and it helps mask that drainage canal. I mean, you don't have the problem with that on your property, but yeah, it's such a nice element in there, and it really reflects Menifee, because for me, Corson is not Corson, but Craig is kind of the boundary where it starts to really turn into the more horse property rural area. So you're talking about that buffer in there. It's going in that other direction too. It's going south as well.
Yeah, we are on the same page. If really on Corson, if you want, we can put some estate lot there that would buffer these, and then go to like 10,000. Even though here is 7,200 square foot minimum lot, look at this. It's a handful of lots are 72. I mean, there are 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, really,
So there is a variance.
I mean, of course, zoning is 72, but it's really not designed for 7,200.
I've lived here for 25 years, and I bought in the Menifee Lakes area, and originally there were 10 tract homes. And this area that Commissioner Thomas has talked about, Lake Ridge Estates, I think is what it is. All 10 tract homes were different size lots. Some of them were between 10 and 15, some were 15 plus, some were less than 10, and it gives a nice variety to the neighborhood. The houses, they were different price range depending on what the people could afford, and it was a great mix, and it still is. It's a wonderful mix around the Menifee Lakes.
Can we do the same thing here? Say like for 20% of these to be, like in 15 or 20,000, or no?
So,
I'm all
Just
for
after
Because we
that.
did
I'm
something
o-
like that in Marietta over off Washington Avenue.
yeah.
And we did from 7 to 12,000 feet. There was some of each. There was a nice mixture of
So,
sizes of lots.
so that's what we're sharing with you. This is originally 1 acre, and we have enough of the 7,200 in that area, and I think a variety would be great to offer some of those bigger lots. Some, call them estate homes, split rail, whatever. I think it'd be a great
The white
enhancement.
rail fence along
Yeah,
the
be
street.
a
Exactly.
great enhancement to that neighborhood. Because like I said, that first thing I noticed today when I went out and visited that property, it is just absolutely beautiful piece of property.
It is.
And I would hate to see it
To waste
chopped
it
up in
on
such
tract
small little track homes. I'd like to see the bigger lots there. I think it's a natural beauty there.
Yeah. Lisa, what's the square footage on a half acre and a quarter acre?
Half acre is around 21 and a half square feet. A
Quarter
quarter.
Is it actual 22,000 or is a state lot, like 40,000, an acre?
No, I'm
Zoning.
just talking a half
You
acre.
just asked how many square feet is a
Yeah.
half acre?
Yeah, and how about a quarter acre? How many, what's the square footage on a quarter?
Almost 11,000.
11,000, okay.
40, yeah,
Yeah.
43,560 is an
Okay.
acre.
is an acre, that's,
So-
at some state, 40,000 they call an acre.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some cities, so.
So you could accomplish, if you were willing to do something like you said, just have along the course and have some of them, the 12,000, then graduate back down to the 10, I'd be open to that. And the reason, like I said, 92% of what we have in this city is already in those 7,200 and higher density. So when anyone comes before us and says, can I just, put density in here? You're killing us.
No, we
You're
can do
killing
that,
us.
we can do that, we come
Okay.
with some
And-
larger
and-
lot
and-
along Coruscant, and then go blending.
Appreciate you
And,
considering
and
it.
I'm so glad you came and we did a workshop so we could talk before you
Very
spent
smart.
all the feet.
Oh, definitely.
And as Commissioner Thomas said earlier to the other workshop, people, come back again,
Before you spend a bunch of money, we
Yeah.
want to
So
work
we can
with
come
you.
as many times we want to?
You come as many times as you want to.
Is it?
How about an
Is that-
assisted living facility with 400 apartments?
We'll talk.
We will require a car wash right in the center.
Yeah,
of
right
the-
in the center of it, yeah. So,
Can we
Um,
also talk about the events, the access? Honestly, this is something, we were thinking since we cannot negotiate or talk to this lady, maybe eminent domain would be option here, or,
You
Let-
can see,
let's-
that's a nightmare, the way
that's-
that's lined up.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. So I know that street because my friends live in that development to the west of this, okay?
Mhm.
And the roads are, kind of all over the place.
Mhm.
So, and when you come out, I always wondered why that would curve. And so are you conditioning him, or did you tell him there'd be a condition to straighten that road out? Is that what's going
The
on?
property across the street, I think.
No,
she said
actually, that was a
gonna be-
condition of the existing development. Since they couldn't get anything here, they meandered the road to our property.
Okay, so as far as when you gave him direction, what was the direction?
We haven't
Yeah.
quite gotten there yet in the process. We were
What were you
just,
looking towards? Were you
we're-
gonna hit him with that, straighten the road out, or?
typically developers are required to improve their project frontage. And some of it will depend on the traffic study. How much traffic will be generated by the project will determine what kind of improvements they'll have to do at intersections. Are they gonna have to put in a right turn pocket, a left turn pocket? That's gonna dictate how wide it's gonna need to
Based
be
on the
at
traffic
Evans and
study.
Holland.
So what, I'm sorry, Bob, what were you gonna say as far as how to address that,
Well, I just,
straightening that out?
essentially, I think what Lisa was saying, I mean, this is something, this is early in the process, and that would be something we'd be addressing, after the studies, engineering would have to take a look at it, we'd have to figure out what would actually be needed out there. So it's a little preliminary right now. I think it's kind of a little ahead of maybe where we need to be at.
Okay. Well, my concern is if they're willing to go towards the lower density, we want to work with them on what we could accomplish there. So before, Earl, I know you're itching to talk there.
Oh, no, that's me.
So, my other concern is those drainage basins that are sitting on Holland.
There's only one.
There's
There's
one.
only one.
Okay, that's just a remainder of it.
That's just a-
Oh, that's
To
right.
build a house
That's where the
eventually.
borrowing hours
Oh,
hang
okay,
out.
burying owls, okay.
Uh,
So if at all possible to move that drainage basin away from Holland, if you can, I understand if you can't, but that's something that we're looking at.
That's where the water goes. I mean, we can, huh? And also keep in mind that existing Evans improvement, it is on our frontage. So now we're talking about someone else's frontage, the other side. So, I mean, we are usually conditioned for our frontage only, and this is already improved, so.
Go ahead, Earl.
Okay, this is just a comment. West of your site, on the corner of Evans and Holland, that whole area there is a natural drainage, and I think that one of the things that there is some resistance there is because of that. And there's engineering culverts already dumping stormwater or whatever into that lot, and it goes under Evans and onto your lot. You have a big erosion channel running right down the middle of that.
Well, if you see what we proposed, we picked up from the culvert and then
Right.
taking it all the way to that flood control channel.
Okay. I really like the rock features where the borrowing hours were. I hope you guys keep that. There may be a recommendation based on the fact that the borrowing owl is an endangered species, that you may need to do a focused EIR. That's something that you may want to include in your budget, because I'm quite certain that I'm not the only one that knows about those owls. I just found out, this morning.
Yeah, because I've walked it many times.
I was just so surprised that they popped up. I've seen them in other parts of the city, but this one was a real blindside. I wasn't expecting it.
Well, it
the
used
other
to be a
thing-
hotel in the Inland Empire for those,
Right.
so maybe somebody dumped them.
And as far as the water quality basin on the northeast side, I think you have plenty of space to re-engineer that. There's an existing depression there that you could re-engineer that to satisfy the other commissioners' concerns about that water quality feature. Right.
You could even move it a lot or two south.
Not really south, because there's that 10-acre strip that runs along Murphy Lane. I think you guys don't own that.
No.
No, somebody else owns that. And I was wondering if you could negotiate with those people and see if you can reach some kind of agreement. You know that you have some berming here that's facing that 10-acre tract. You're going to have to put some kind of
We're getting permission.
We got
Yeah.
permission to grade from that.
yeah, to grade and to also do some kind of a feature to convey water from there. Because that whole site, from Corson Road out to Holland along Murphy Lane, tends to trend toward your proposed water quality basin there. And so if you're going to do any kind of embankments on that side, you're going to need to put some kind of a feature to convey water away from,
Sure, make it drain
that,
correctly.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So-
Actually, water is falling east side of that one, so by our development, it would reduce any drainage impact on that property, so.
Okay, and the
heavy.
last thing I wanted to reiterate, we like those trees. I do have a problem with tamarisk because they suck up a lot of water, but those trees over there on that lot are pretty mature, and they really make that lot stand out. In addition to the rock features, you may want to consider trying to design something around that.
No, what we could do, have an arborist look at that and prepare a report, even though if really we can transplant those somewhere and not get credit for other trees we have, we can work with the
Okay.
staff on that.
One other thing I forgot to bring up is, even though you are gonna have a park to the southeast here eventually, you still gonna have quite a few homes, and you really should put some kind of a tot lot in there somewhere. You need to do that. So, keep that in mind.
Is it just Todd lot or really?
Well, you're
a
doing
community
doing
park?
park mitigation fees on this,
Okay,
right?
uh-huh.
That's the idea.
Exactly,
To
yeah.
get more lots. So
Mhm.
stick a tot lot in at least. And in the long term, there's gonna be that city park, you're gonna be contributing towards that.
Absolutely.
So, but it's probably gonna be 10, 15 years minimum before that park is developed, Lisa?
The city's currently in the process of preparing a Parks and Trails master plan.
Master plan, but-
And that plan will identify our existing parks and trails, where we need to add more parks and trails, and will also identify, it'll prioritize them and try to identify some funding sources.
So if you're doing Quimby fees, then at least a tot lot here really is the responsible thing to do, because, go ahead.
Is
If
half
it's-
acre
If it's
good
an
enough?
estate type, you may not need so much a tot lot, but maybe like a sale area.
That's,
That would,
So,
that would make more sense.
you mean like a trail?
Trail, like
Kind of a
a
thing?
green belt area. Yeah, or,
Yeah. Yeah, whatever you think would be marketable and.
oh,
what would
if
be
you're going with
desirable.
tot lot, half acre, what's the minimum you want? Half acre?
I would, even though there's a paseo, I would still like to see some kind of a park facility
Activity
there,
facility.
activity node of some
And meant to
kind.
They're gonna have such large lots, though. They have plenty of room to have
That's what I was-
recreation on
Yeah.
their property.
That's what I was,
That's true,
That's
so
what I
maybe a
was thinking.
paseo would be more appropriate.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So,
Any other comments, Commissioner Folsom?
I have a question for
So
staff, I
usually
guess.
one
Is there a bike path in this area, or is there a bike path plan or anything like that?
Yeah, there is, let me pull it up.
Is there any of these other trail systems going through this at all? Any,
Yeah.
you might be aware that we're working on a master trail plan, and we had some tentative trails set up. You may wanna look at that while designing this, because you may have to put a trail on Holland or Evans or Corson or something.
So, based
Look.
on our general plan now, community on-street bike lanes are required on Holland Road, and community on-street NEV/bike lanes are required on Evans.
But there's none of those red line trails going through any of this property then? Okay.
No.
Okay.
is it a
Okay.
community trail, a local trail?
Yeah, there's several community trails going through, but it's not gonna hit your property, at least for the
It would be
development
within the
map.
right of way of Holland, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, anything else, commissioners?
Just a reminder to open it to the public as
Oh,
well.
okay, okay. Do we have any, public speakers here? Anyone like to speak? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. Let me put this down. We appreciate you coming before us and, listening, and, we hope to have a nice project together. Oh, just a question. When this does go through the approval process and everything's worked out, are you gonna sit on this, do you think, or build
No,
immediately?
we're ready to break ground.
Oh.
As soon as we get approval, we're ready. We've already been designing the houses and ready to go.
Oh, we need bigger, we have to
Very
change
good.
it.
We
Need
designed some
bigger-
beautiful
bigger
homes. We'd like to
lots.
present those next time.
Yeah, and if they're bigger lots, we're looking for a little higher income home, just to warn you,
Yeah,
so,
they're high, they'll stand out.
okay, very good. So if we don't have any public testimony, we'll go ahead and, close the workshop. Do we have any other, staff comments or anything? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your time. Appreciate it.